It's terrifying, and it's exactly the opposite of what we were told leading into this administration, that it's going to be America first.
Right.
And no more unnecessary foreign wars. There's the other thing that, do you remember Desert Storm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Desert Storm, quick and easy, baby. Woo, we went in, kicked some ass, took some names. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Pulled out. There was only one base that got hit. So there was the amount of deaths by American citizens was fairly minimal. I think that's what got people so confident into entering Iran after 9/11, or excuse me, Iraq after 9/11. To go back, like we already fucked them up once. We're going to go back, and this is going to be easy. Well, it wasn't easy the second time, and it was drawn out, and it didn't make any sense. But people wanted some form of revenge, something for 9/11, and so somehow or another they justified a war with a country that had zero to do with it. Like it didn't even make sense. That one took for, and then we also invaded Afghanistan at the same time. Like, what do we do? What the fuck? So in the fog of this idea of American exceptionalism, we're just going to go in and fix it. We did it before. There's no one even close to us. Well, look how that turned out.
Yeah, well, this is completely true. And there's this idea that it's so easy to take one regime, remove
Right.
it, and then just put another one in its place, like it's a Lego block. And
Exactly.
then all of a sudden, you're going to magically fix a country. It's a fantasy. Like if you take Iran, the IRGC, which is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, numbers around 200,000 trained soldiers. And not only are they trained soldiers, they're fanatical. They're fanatics. And then you have the secret police, and then you have the regular police, and then you have the people employed in the government, and then their families, and so on and so forth, and then there's supporters within the country. And then you've got the various factions within Iran, like the Kurds, who want independence. So the moment the leadership is weakened, they're going to use it as an opportunity to launch their own revolution to try and break away from the rest of Iran. So you have all of these particular parts, these factions, and then you think if you take out the top, the guy at the top who's holding it all together by force, I'm not saying I agree with him or what he does, you have the very real risk that the entire country is going to disintegrate, as what happened in Iraq, sorry.
And also Libya.
Yeah.
That was a
but
big risk.
The idea that you could just take the guy out and that's a wrap. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's well thought out.
Well, I mean,
To
I
be
guess
charitable.
they would say Venezuela, right? Like regime adjustment.
That's
but it's
a
been 2
completely
months.
different
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of...
Of course.
This is a religious, fanatical...
Right.
It's a totally different kind of country. Also, it's a country that's been under threat for decades, right? So they've been preparing for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also with Venezuela, it wasn't a regime change. Practically everybody who was in the old regime is still there.
It's regime adjustment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Delcy Rodriguez was one of the senior leaders in Maduro's regime. They just took out Maduro and his wife. They put Delcy Rodriguez there. But the whole structure, the whole leadership, the whole party is still in place. So what they've done is they put Delcy at the top and they've said to her, look, if you fuck about, you're going to get what your boss got. So you're going to follow what we say. You're going to do what we say. You are going to open up the oil refineries. We're going to build it. You're going to start pumping oil out. You're going to stop messing about with Hezbollah, which they had training camps in the island of Margarita, which is a little Caribbean island, 2.5 hours away from Miami. Training camps. You can't have that. You're not going to be fraternizing with the Cubans, and you're going to play ball. And essentially, Venezuela is now a colony of the United States. That's what it's now become.
That's wild. The problem is from the outside, like the rest of the world, you look at this unnecessary aggression by the United States government, and then you tack on whatever propaganda they have already been spitting out about America for the last 20 or 30 years, and then this war with Iran gets really ugly. Because that's how you start a World War III. You start a World War III by doing something that, other than people that wanted this forever, who else thinks that's a good idea? Who else thinks it's a good idea to just attack a country that isn't doing anything? They haven't done anything. Like if you have proof that they have developed the depleted uranium and they've got it up to a point where they've got it to what percentage does it have to be? Like they're at 60, right?
But that's way more than you need, I think.
Way more than you need, right? So it shows that they're at least ramping up their production where it's possible to get it to whatever it needs to make a
That's
nuclear
way more
weapon.
than you need for civilian use.
Right.
Right.
But that's still, it's not clear that that justifies an invasion when North Korea has nuclear weapons.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, are we just trying to prevent them from ever getting to a point where they're like North Korea? Who the fuck is worried about North Korea? Zero people.
I think the difference, as you correctly said earlier, is these people are very different to the North Koreans, right? North Korea wants to be left the fuck alone. Iran does not want to be left alone. Iran wants to dominate the region. That's why they fund Hamas. It's why they fund Hezbollah. It's why they fund the Houthis. It's why they are doing shit. That's why the Gulf countries and Israel are very worried about them, right? So that's the difference, I think. And then there's some of the people we've had on the show who are Iranian have talked about the what is it called, 12 Shia Islam? Is that I can't remember the details, but basically they have a kind of messianic vision of what's going to happen, and they believe that when the world ends, that's when the prophecy will be fulfilled. You don't want those guys with nuclear weapons. Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So from that perspective, it's different to North Korea. And so I think that's part of the thinking. But your point is interesting to me about the fact that this doesn't reflect what people, as we're not Americans, but it doesn't seem to have been part of the policy platform of the Trump election at the last election, right?
No, not at all.
But I do think there is some kind of strategy behind all of this, and I'm very curious what that is. Because I guess if you think about it logically, you would say, well, is it an attempt to effectively push back against China and Russia infiltrating all these countries, right? China and Russia were very close with Maduro in Venezuela. Very, very, like Francis is saying, Hezbollah training camps, Island Margarita. Where was the oil going, right? Same with Iran. I mean, Iran sells its oil to China and sends suicide drones to Russia to use in Ukraine. So maybe it's that. Maybe the strategy is you're trying to push back against Chinese and Russian influence in all these countries because you can't attack them directly.